new book reveals how and why your life has meaning. The Postmodern Predicament by Catholic author Bobby Angel seeks to revive the joy of contemplating the good, true, and beautiful in the world with Christ at the center. In the book, Angel lays out some practical antidotes for overcoming social isolation and relativism. He also calls on readers to take courage as they have been created to live in these times. And joining us now is Bobby Angel, author of the new book, The Postmodern Predicament and a Roadmap for Recovery and Restoration. Bobby, great to see you. I know in your new book, you say society no longer encourages spending time pondering those big questions about life. Tell us why you say that.
There is a real sense of everything's been discovered. I can Google everything, therefore I don't need to learn or remember facts. I used to be a teacher, and I saw the decline of memory and attention, and it sucks us all in. And it's not just technology, it goes to something deeper. And I was blessed with a background in learning philosophy through my seminary training before I discerned that I was indeed called to marriage. I worked at an all-boys high school where I taught theology and philosophy to seniors, so trying to get 17 and 18-year-olds to ask these questions. Why am I here? What is a good life? How do I know what is true? Are more important than ever, but there is a real sense of these questions don't matter or they can never be answered. So it just leaves us pretty listless with a spirit of meh today.
Yeah, indeed. And I know your book goes over some really practical tips to overcome social isolation and relativism. Could you give us some examples of those?
Yeah, so and some of it is very common sense of just putting the technology down, getting outside, being with one another, loving your neighbors, like actually your neighbors, like talking to the people next door to you, and sharing a meal or just asking how they're doing. These are little ways in which I can get out of myself. And surrounding ourselves with beauty, the time period we live in is the ideas that have seeped in, that life is meaningless, that the human person is nothing special. It comes out in our art, in our architecture. And so in little ways, to reclaim beauty around your home, whether that is with sacred artwork or being attentive to clutter, and we have 5 kids all under 10, so keeping the house clean is pretty impossible. But there's a sense of like, I want them to see beautiful things, and I want them to see more than just pop entertainment. And whether that's painting, that's exposure to different classical songs or chant, even of just like broadening that. And even the struggle sometimes, because we have less attention span than a goldfish today, I believe. And so older movies or older pieces of music that require you to actually listen or breathe a bit, it sometimes we get restless, and that's okay. But we can also stretch in that discomfort. And stretch when it comes to like going on a walk without a podcast or going on a walk without my phone. There's a bit of a die-off that could happen, a bit of angst. And you realize you'll be okay. And maybe, in fact, that's what you need, to be bored, to be alone in your thoughts, to be creative again.
Just a chance to breathe. Bobby, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with us. We really appreciate it. And lastly, before I let you go, tell people where they can find your book.
You can go to sophiainstitute.com. You can also find The Postmodern Predicament on Amazon. There will be an audiobook coming eventually, but it was a pleasure to write. I think it's pretty readable, and thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Much needed too, Bobby. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless you.